But what I can do now is have a look at this issue and start navigating it, triaging it, and so on. You see that already by default, the task is kicked off to start triaging this issue. For more information on this data help desk case, have a look at the link below. It's a very nice use case. I just want to show you that this is now linked to my data set and so on as well. Now, there's just one thing that we haven't covered yet, and that's the case of what if you want to configure all this. What if you say, well, we have a data set, but we want to show, let's say, the cost of a data set, right? How much does this data set cost us, for example, on a yearly basis to maintain? Well, that's not something that's there out of the box. Luckily, Collibra is very configurable. And this is probably one of the biggest things where you should look at some tutorials or some of the recordings on the configuration of the asset model, and with that, the operating model. But just as an intro into that, let's add an attribute cost to a data set. Right? At the moment, it's not available. Also not if I look in my optional fields here. I've got certified, quality, license, and so on, but there's no cost. So what do? I go to my settings. I go to my attributes, and here I see all the available attributes, which is quite a lot that are there out of the box. But of course, there's only so much out of the box. So what I'm going to do is add a new one, new attribute type, and I'll say costs. And the kind, well, maybe I make it a number, right? Let's do that. And I won't give it a description. I'll just say save. That's right. So now cost is available as an attribute that I could assign to different asset types. For example, dataset is an asset type, but I didn't assign it yet, right? It's available in my asset model, but I still need to assign it so it can be used and it can be entered when we talk about a data set. So what I'm going to find in my asset model here, I'm going to find a data set, and I find it here. I'm going to look at the assigned attributes in my template, right click, say assets. And you see here description, certified, and so on. And what I'm going to add here is say cost. And let's say that this is so important for me that I always want it. So I'm going to say minimum, this has to exist. And of course, it can only have one cost. So I'm going to say maximum one. And I'm going to put this right under my quality. There we go. I'm going to save this. Now, if I go back to my catalog and I'll pick my one data set that I created already, you see that now cost is available here. So what I've actually started doing is fine-tune and tweak and configure my asset model for my needs. And that's what you can do as well. There's a lot out of the box, but you can use the university and the documentation, the tutorials and so on, all the stuff on the community to create your own operating model. And this is going to consist out of your asset types. For example, data sets, business term, KPI, and so on. You can tweak that completely. You can tweak the attributes and the relations that are applicable to your attributes, to your asset types. Who's responsible, like is the roles and so on, you can tweak as well. And then you can go a step further and say, well, I have specific workflows on top of this as well. All this is available for you to tweak. And we've got courses on that. We've got tutorials on that. We've got all the documentation on that. Use these links that you see up here. Have a look. And go as far as you can go as deep as you can go. Don't make it too complex, right? Start with something with a good, well-defined scope. Completely work that out, and then once it's clear, once you have that success, start further, start from that and build on that.